welcome to this class. Today we are going to discuss about the social impact assessment as it relates to environmental impact assessment. Sometimes the social aspect of any project may be the most critical aspects in terms of how the projects affect the people, and this sometimes this creates great and bad social impacts, and we need to look at ways on how to reduce the adverse social impacts and also create the intended benefits of the proposal as in terms of the viability and also the severity. So we need to look at ways of creating proper benefits from proposals, and that's why undertaking a social impact assessment is critical. So sometimes these social impact assessments are undertaken as part of an EIA process, or sometimes they may be done parallel or on a separate review, so that depending on the type of the project that is being looked at and how much it affects the community. So normally CIA are used to analyze the impact on individuals, communities, and ways to mitigate such adverse effects and also enhance positive impacts. And again, these social impact assessments are also done as a way of providing a framework on how to manage the social change that is brought about by project, because definitely when the project is introduced into a community or in an area, it comes with some changes in diverse ways. So ways of managing such a project is very so what are these social impacts? So we can define social impact as consequences to people or changes to people in terms of how these people live, in terms of how they work, in terms of how they relate with one another, and also in ways they organize themselves and function as communities or members of the society. Sometimes this also includes the social psychological changes that these people undergo in terms of the change in values, because maybe new people are introduced into an area, they might alter the way people have been living, their values. Again, example of changing attitudes and perceptions of people themselves, community, and also the environment. Yeah, so this are very important part of the project that must be considered. So we have some variables and characteristics that have to be considered when it comes to consideration of the social impacts of projects. One is the demographic changes. This could be the size and composition of a community in terms of maybe new people coming, and maybe if a project attracts development of a town or a city, more people comes into that area. So this also can also be if it is a road that is being constructed, people come on a temporary way, so there is that increased influx of temporary workforce, which is also creating the different aspect of the community, because these are people from different cultures, people coming from different areas with different type of lifestyles that they bring to the community. So this is very important consideration when it comes to looking at the social impacts of projects. Again, we also have economic change, and this may be as a result of new employment or income patterns, and also change in real estate speculations, because different developments results to maybe increased prices of lands in certain areas when a project is coming up, and also creation of employment for the people, and also bringing in people from other areas. So that is also important characteristic or variable that has to be considered when it comes to the adverse social impacts. So sometimes these impacts maybe affect the community in a way because if real estate speculations affect the prices of the land, maybe some people are tempted to sell their land to the people, or because of the high income they might get from these people, and through that the community cultural fabric may be destroyed in the end. Again, we have environmental changes, maybe in terms of change in land use. Communities are bringing in a different aspect of how the land is being used, because maybe a new project has been introduced in that area, and also changing the natural habitat and also hydrological regimes of the area, depending on what type of project is being done in that area. Another aspect is maybe institutional change. Yeah, once a project has been started in an area, then it attracts um, different leadership in that area, and through that, maybe even the security of the area is enhanced depending on what kind of project is being done in that area. So that is also an important aspect of social impact assessment for any project. Um, so, what are these types of social impacts are we talking about in this aspect? So, there could be maybe lifestyle impacts. This is the way people, the change in the way people behave and relate to family, friends, and their peers on a day-to-day basis. Because these people are learning different lifestyle or different behaviors from people that are coming to implement that project, then that could change or transform their way of behavior and affect the community, the cultural values of the community, and the people living near the project. Yeah. We also have cultural impacts. Yeah, we are looking at what are the shared customs of the people, obligations, values, and also the language, also religious beliefs and other elements of the culture that may be affected by these people. If maybe you look at the coastal region with the British and the tourists coming, the social fabric and the cultural fabric of the community near the coastal region has greatly been affected. So definitely, those are some of the issues that may be attributed to project or social impacts that could be cultural. So once people and people from different cultures come to this area, this affects how they behave, how the community behaves, and their cultural values, because they are still learning from other communities or people from other regions and other areas of that are brought to the region by the project. Uh, we also have community impacts, maybe changing infrastructure and other aspect of the community. So once the community is being infiltrated by other people from other regions, and then different aspect of the community changes, and that affects how the community is viewed in all and in other aspects. Then we have quality of life. Yeah, so this normally comes with different projects. So once a project has been introduced in an area, then that also affects the quality of life in terms of how do the sense, how do people feel the sense of belonging in that community, in terms of the aesthetics and the heritage, uh, the security and livability of that area and all that. So these are things that will be affected by projects or any proposal that are being advanced by any donor or any person. So definitely, when these projects are brought in the area, they might improve the quality of life of that people, of that community, or they may affect the quality of life in all. So that is key to note. Then we also have health impact. This could be mental, physical, and also the social well-being of the community. Sometimes projects may have um, a mental toll on the people or the community that has been living in an area, and this definitely will come as a result of change in lifestyle and also the cultural value and the cultural impact. All these other uh, uh, social impacts affects the health impact, because if you change the way people have been living, the way people have been doing their worship, then definitely that will affect how this community is lived. Yeah. So, what are some of the projects that require social impact assessment? One of them is, for instance, a landfill and hazardous waste disposal sites, because they pose high risks, health risk, and also loss of quality and amenity. Yeah, so those are some. That is one of the projects that may require a social impact assessment being conducted. Together with the oil or separately with an EIA. Then we also have power and industrial plants. Normally, as a result of community stress from influx of workforce, pressure of infrastructure, people may be affected. Their social well-being may be affected, and then this calls for a social impact assessment to assess how such big projects affect the community. Sometimes the power plants may be emitting a lot of maybe causing a lot of air pollution and also noise pollution and all this. So this needs to be studied so that we may know the impact the project have on the community. Then we also have dams and reservoirs. And normally we have high chances of relocation, and also when we have dams and reservoirs being constructed in an area. So when people are moving from one area, we've said this in many occasions, once you are moving people from where they have been staying to another area, then you are destroying their social fabric, and also and this affects how they behave and how they do what they do. So definitely this is key for any community to undertake a social impact assessment when there is issues of relocation and all that. Then also when you have these dams and water reservoirs, there is definitely going to be change of land use. So definitely people around there might start practicing agriculture, and they might, which they formerly they may not have been doing and all that. So we need to do a social impact assessment to see how this is going to affect their income, how it is going to affect their health, how it is going to affect their lifestyle and all that. So it's very important to look at that. Other projects are roads and linear development. Normally, dislocation of activity networks and relationships. When these projects come, even influx of people who are doing these projects definitely affects how the people behave and how people relate with one another in a community. So it's important to undertake impact assessment. Yeah. Normally, we have defined benefits of undertaking a systematic social impact assessment. One, you have reduced impact on community and individuals. So, identification of mitigation measures is an integral element of a social impact assessment because once you identify the adverse impacts that a project is going to cause, then you propose mitigation measures, and definitely these mitigation measures will, in the end, reduce the impact the project will have on communities and individuals in that area. Then you have enhanced benefits to those who are affected. Normally, a social impact assessment will identify the measures such as maybe job training packages and other aspects of the project, and propose ways of how to enhance those benefits that the community and the individuals are gaining from that project. We also have avoidance of delays and obstruction. So once you address the social impacts or the handful social impacts the project might have on the community, then definitely you are going to address issues of delays, because maybe people are raising concerns about the project if there is no proper social impact assessment. Yeah, but then if you do it, then those delays are not there, because people feel part and parcel of the project from the start to the end. So there will be no issues of approval delays and all that. Yeah, then we also have lowered cost. Yeah, sometimes when we have these impacts and you have proper mitigation measures at very early stages of the project, then you avoid errors that may arise, and also remedial costs that may come up as a result of regulators trying to stop the project at later stages once the project has started. Yeah, so that's very important. Then we also have better community and stakeholder relationships, because people know that they have been involved in this project from the word go. Then they will not be having any concerns or fears about the project, and they will embrace the project to the end. We also have uh, another benefit being improved proposals. Yeah, normally social impact assessment provide information that adds value to existing project, and also help design the future ones. The people that are doing this normally receive uh, they receive feedback from the community and different individuals that are affected by the project, and then you you can improve on the areas of the project that needs we have definite steps that are in concerned in social impact assessment. One is public involvement, and we've said this even in normal EIS. So you have to involve the public, all the people have to be involved in the project, and that way you are reducing chances of adverse impact. Then you also need to identify alternatives. Yeah, you are looking at different proposed actions, and maybe reasonable alternatives to the proposed actions. Then sometimes this may also include the no action alternative. So definitely once you look at the different alternatives, then you identify the alternative that has the highest positive benefits to the community and to the people in the surrounding area. You also have to look at the profile baseline condition. How is it? How does the project affect the human environment or area of influence of the proposal? Those are things that you also need to consider. Just like in normal EIA, you need to do a proper scoping so that you can identify and also prioritize the range of the likely social impacts through a variety of means. Yeah, you also have you have to look at the projection of estimated effects. Here you are looking at analyzing and predicting the probable impacts of the proposal and the alternatives against the baseline conditions, which normally we look at the situation without the project being done in that area. Also, you're looking at the prediction and evaluation of the response to impacts. Yeah. So here you determine the significance of the identified social impacts to those who will be affected. Then we have estimated indirect and cumulative impacts. Here you're looking at ways of identifying the subsequent flow on and effects of the proposal, and this could be include second and third order impacts and their incremental impacts when added to other past, present, and even foreseeable current activities. And then we also have a change of two alternatives. Here you are now looking at when you recommend a new or a changed alternative. You also have to estimate and project their consequences for affected and interested stakeholders. Because sometimes, if you look at some alternatives, they may cost more, uh, and that may hinder the implementation of the project by the stakeholders. So, once you are coming up with these alternatives, you have to consider what are the impacts of these alternatives to the community and to the stakeholders that are involved in the process. Then you have to develop a mitigation plan for the same. Here you develop and implement a mitigation plan in order of preference to first avoid, secondly minimize, and third you compensate for the first impact. So these these three aspects of impact mitigation we are going to discuss it in the next lecture. So when we are looking at what is possible to be avoided, what is possible to be minimized, and what is possible to be compensated in terms of so that the project becomes acceptable by the community. Then you also have to have a monitoring plan. Here you need to develop and implement a monitoring program that identifies different changes from the proposed action and any important and anticipated impacts the project may cause to the community and the people around. So, principles of social impact assessment. We talked about the principles of an EIA, and similarly, it's also good we look at this because sometimes these social impact assessment are done separately. Yeah, they may not be part of the EIA because when the social impacts are adverse and they are very consequential, then you have to do a social impact assessment as a separate activity. So we have some principles of this process. One, you have to involve the public in your discourse, identify and involve all the potential and affected groups and individuals, so that whatever you are coming up with, then it is in line with what the people are interested in. Then we also have to analyze the impact equity, identify who will win and who will lose once these projects have been implemented. And normally here you have to emphasize more on the vulnerability of the underrepresented groups. Yeah, maybe that's why in most of the international organization or the multinational organization, they focus on women and children. What are the impact of these projects on women and children? And that's why they talk of gender equity and all that whenever a project is being undertaken in an area. Yeah. So sometimes if a project is more of a manual project, then they are looking at how can they enhance equity in terms of job creation for all the genders in the community. So sometimes those are the areas that you'll be looking at when you look at the impact equity. We also have to focus the assessment. Here you are dealing with issues and concerns that are raised by the public. Make sure that this is the concern. We say that when you are doing scoping in EIA, you have to look at ways of limiting all the impacts that you might be discussed, but sometimes they may be solving. So you only focus on those that are adverse and that are of interest. So that's key for any project. Then you also are need to identify methods and assumptions and also define their significance when you are looking at social impact assessment. You need to also develop a way of providing feedback on social impact to project planners. Here you are looking at ways of identifying the problems that could be solved with changes to the proposed action or alternatives. Again, the other principle is the use of social impact practitioners. Normally, you need to have trained social scientists that are employed for social science that may apply social science knowledge and methods to deal with aspects of the community that are being affected. Then you also need to establish monitoring and mitigation programs that manage the project as it should. Also rely more on data sources. Look at both primary, secondary, and also the scientific literature about the project and how it might affect the community in all. So some of the principles of social impact assessment. So normally at minimum, when you are predicting social impact, you need to understand the affected population, how people likely to respond to and be affected by the given changes. Again, you also need to look at comparison with the similar cases. Maybe that project has been done somewhere else. How do people adapt to those changes? Yeah, so that's key when you are looking at the social impact the project have on the community. Also, appropriate expertise and knowledge base. Yeah, in terms of who are you using, who are you asking questions when it comes to social impact assessment. It's very important for that. So what are the common methods that are used in predicting social impacts? Just like we looked at different ways of predicting the environmental impacts of projects in a community or in an area or in an environment. And you remember we said environment is diverse. We may talk of the community, like now what we are talking about the community. It could be also the biophysical environment. It could be health or any aspect that is affected by this project. So one of the methods that is applied in social impact prediction is trend extrapolation. And here you are projecting the current trends into the future. You are looking at how, if this project is implemented, how is it going to affect the future population level and also the future employment activity and job creation of that community. How is it going to affect the social lifestyle of the people? How is it going to affect the health status of the community and all that? Those are the issues on when you are projecting the current situation to the future through trend extrapolation. Then we also have what we call population multipliers here. You are looking at extrapolated increase in population size, sometimes relating them with coefficient for change in other variables. How maybe employment and demand for housing that. So once a project is done in an area, then you look at uh, that project is going to create new employment. And then if it creates new employment, it attracts different calibers of people into that area. You're looking at maybe the project is attracting professionals, the project is attracting other people from walks of life. So definitely these people will require different types of housing than that has been existing in that area. So that will change. So that's how population multipliers are looking at. So you are extrapolating what one change might affect the other areas of the community activities. Then you also have the consulting experts. Here you are relying more on the expert knowledge, looking at researchers, professionals, and local authorities, and also knowledgeable citizens. So here you are relying on these professionals to help you understand uh, what are some of the impacts this project might have on the community, and also the people living in that community. So definitely that is key for any project that is being undertaken in an area. So you're looking at different researchers. What are they say? What have they said about this project? What have they done concerning the project? How are the professionals relating this project in different aspects of the community, and how does it affect the social lifestyle of the people and all those other aspects. Again, you could also have scenarios. Here, you look at the likely alternatives or preferred future of the community and society. You are looking at how could this project affect. You look at different scenarios that may exist, or different aspects of the community that may exist once this project has been implemented in the community. Then you also can do comparative studies. Here you are comparing different how, because this project may be a repeat of another project done somewhere else. How has it affected uh, the community in that area in terms of the social impact it has on the community? So you can compare that community and your current community, or the area where you are going to undertake the project, and get